Good evening all. It has been a while since we last looked at Sndl, but Sndl stock is appearing on the channel tonight as Sndl has seen a day in the green, up by 3.78%. Over the past 5 days we are starting to see a bit of recovery in the share price. We are now up by approximately 0%, so the share price is neutral for the past 5 days. We can see that obviously the lows down here were at 66, and if you'd have bought the lows and held until now, you would have made an 18% gain. However, if you'd held Sndl out throughout the past month, you would have lost around 16.5%. Held it out for the past 6 months from the highs, you would have now been down by around, let's get a number on it, around 75%, so really unfortunate for Sndl. You guys will remember we hit highs up here which were just above the $3 range, I do believe, so coming close to $3 or $4 we hit up here, and again ever since the share price has been down. Now a lot of stuff has happened in that time, you guys will remember from our previous videos and from others on YouTube. Sndl has been, seen a lot of unfortunate times. We saw that sell-off initially happen because, it was bound to happen after rocketing that high. We also had unfortunate market conditions sending the share price down as all stocks were plummeting consistently and consecutively, and Sndl was hit by that quite hard as well. So now Sndl does appear to be leveling out. We have some potential good news for Sndl, which we will be going over in just a moment. Make sure to give this video a like, by the way, and subscribe. Obviously, guys, I am not a financial advisor. You will know that, but I am just going to remind you for my safety and for yours. Do your own research if you want to invest in this stock or any stock which we talk about here on the N2S Finance channel, because this is not financial advice. But regardless, we are going to jump into the video, starting off with a quick look at some of the news that we have about Sndl, and then some of the more recent news. This article was written on May the 6th of 2021, so a few days ago, but obviously it is still somewhat relevant. So it talks about how Sndl Growers is banking, they have a banking move which could be a game changer to the pot stock's needs. Let's have a quick look down here because we're not going to read the majority of this article, it just tells us what has happened with the company. Now this is what I think is interesting from this article. Earlier this year, Sndl Group announced that they will be forming a joint venture with SAF Group. So SAF is based out of Alberta, Canada, and it is an alternative asset manager. Previously, it has worked in a range of industries, putting more than $2 billion of capital to work across dozens of deals. Anyway, Sndl has agreed to partner with SAF for making investments in marijuana through a vehicle called Sndl Bancorp, that is. Anyway, down here we can see it sounds like, or at least it might not sound like a huge deal. However, Sndl recently added to the buzz. On the 23rd of April, they added that they will be considerably upping its financial commitment, and they now will be putting in 188 million Canadian dollars, equivalent to 153 million United States dollars, to the venture, and that is apparently nearly double Sndl's previous figure. So again, the whole idea of this is pretty good. I do find it interesting that Sndl are doing this, and again, they definitely are doing a lot of interesting things when looking at the business now to try and help them to grow and expand. So it's really interesting that they have upped their position on that, and I find that an interesting point from a fundamental standpoint. Now, I said interesting a lot there, as you guys will have noticed, but I do really think this is a unique thing when we are looking at Sndl. But now we are seeing 3 days of consistent growth. Whilst it might not be by much, it is pretty decent, I do believe, and we could be seeing a breakout in Sndl in just a few days. Now, the reason why I say that is because we are looking at the Bollinger Bands for our indicator down here. So you guys can obviously see the Bollinger Bands here. There's a top one, there's a bottom one, and the line in the middle. Now Sndl, as I have mentioned, saw this big red spike obviously after it did rocket, so it came pretty much straight down. After that we saw a lot of flat action for the longest time, but it was generally speaking trending downwards. You could easily draw a line through that to get a general picture of how the stock has been moving. So we've been seeing consistent downs, unfortunately, with Sndl, even though it has not been by very much. So we saw this big spike, and obviously as the market did unfortunately continue to drop, Sndl was affected as well. But now we are seeing 3 days in the green, and again we're crossing this middle line when looking at the Bollinger Bands, and again the Bollinger Bands are becoming increasingly tight on Sndl, which could indicate to a breakout in share price soon. Now it looks like if we can get past this 94-cent range and back to $1, we'll be seeing a lot of interesting moves for Sndl. Now previously we have seen support and resistance levels at $1. Again, if we can break past that one, I would be very happy when looking at Sndl. Would I consider this stock a buy right now though? Here's the thing, guys. I know that Sndl is quite low for what it is. I personally would consider Sndl a buy. Now again, Sndl it's a very questionable company. I do think it has a lot of strength for it. I think it has a lot going for it. People are going to question me because it is a penny stock, asking me why I would buy it, and people are going to say that it probably will drop lower. I would agree that it is a penny stock and it does carry quite a lot of risk with it, and on top of that I would also agree that there is a lot of potential for this one to drop even further down. And people are going to be asking me therefore, why would I say it was a buy? Well, we are seeing uncertain market conditions at the moment. People are fearful of inflation, people are saying that market manipulation is going on. I'm not here to talk about why the stock is dropping, but I can see the market fears continuing to loom, potentially in the future. So if you're looking to get into Sndl, I could see this one dropping a bit further. And for that reason, I definitely would consider, doing a sort of dollar cost averaging strategy. And again, if you bought Sndl at the highs, I may even consider averaging down if you can afford it. Again, if you can't, I would not consider it because it may not be worth it. Don't put too much money into Sndl. Please understand the risk, appreciate the risk, and don't go too hard on this one. But I think Sndl, where it is right now, is kind of a buy, and again, we may not have hit the lows right now, but I don't think we are far off. The previous lows that we saw down here were above 50 cent. They were at like 65, I do believe it was. So again, we're not too far off. We could drop about 15 or so cent off the share price right now, but for me at least, that would not be too much of a significant drop for the potential gains that we could be seeing, bringing us back to $1 and potentially beyond. So once more, be aware of the risk, make your own decisions, as this is only my opinion. Thank you for watching, I'll see you soon, goodbye.